Welcome to the 531 Year 5 Remembrance Ceremony. We gather here under the general grace of the sky to remember the lives lost and changed. Please welcome City Manager Patrick Dehaney to open the ceremony.
On behalf of the mayor and the members of City Council, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today to remember the 12 beloved family members, colleagues, and friends that were lost during the tragedy of 531. In this milestone year of remembrance, we will never forget their contributions to the city and beyond, and forever keep their memories close to our hearts and in our minds. We honor Lakita C. Brown, Ryan Keat Cox, Tara Welch Gallagher, Mary Louise Mary Lou Krutzinger Gale, Alexander Mikhail Gusev, Joshua Dennis Hoskins Hardy, Michelle Missy Langer, Richard Rich Nettleton, Catherine Anne Marie Lusich Nixon, Christopher Kelly Rapp, Herbert Ray Burt Snelling Jr., Robert Thomas Bobby Williams. We remember them always, and we continue to lift up survivors and all those affected and still healing. We accept that healing comes in different ways, at different paces, for different people. May all those who journey to heal be filled with strength, support, and love. Now please, join me in a moment of silence.
Thank you, Symphonicity. It's with great pleasure to welcome the Mayor of Virginia Beach, the Honorable Robert M. Bobby Dyer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us to observe May 31st, marking 5 years since 12 kind souls were tragically taken from our community, as well as many who were wounded, both physically and emotionally. First, I want to thank all the members of City Council and other elected officials who are with us today. And we especially want to thank all the family members and survivors who are here on this most solemn occasion. A philosopher once said, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer." 5 years ago today, pretty much at this very minute, this city was rocked by unspeakable tragedy. The damage inflicted was physical, mental, and emotional, immeasurable. Yet because of the spirit, the generosity, and the caring from people throughout our city, we also saw comfort and warmth and the light that is part of the invincible summer. It was a light symbolized the spirit, the generosity, and the caring from people from everywhere. A glimmer of who we are as a community that began to shine through. Our city's first responders were the first ray of hope that day. So many of them rushed toward danger that day without hesitation. They did their jobs, and they did it so very well. At a time when it may have been unclear as how we could ever possibly move on, we did. And we did it together by reaching out and being there for each other. Every day, we continue to mourn those 12 whom we loved and respected and think of today and every day. We remember their laughter, their dedication, and the countless lives that they touched. Their lives were cut short by an act of violence, but their legacies do in fact endure. We mourn their absence, but we also celebrate the resilience of our community. To those of you who experienced the loss of a coworker or a family member or witnessed a tragedy, we assure you that their name and memory of them will never be forgotten. It is vital that we not lose faith in humanity because of tragedy, but we go forward into our future. We must preserve our own humanity as well. Let us commit to building a world where public service is honored, where kindness prevails, and where tragedy transforms into resilience. May the memories of those we lost and the light from these 12 shining stars guide us toward a future where such senseless violence becomes unthinkable. Let us also remember the strength that emerged from it, the bonds that tightened, the compassion that flowed, and the commitment toward healing. By honoring those we lost, may we vow to create a safer and more compassionate world. Thank you, and God bless each of you for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer, for your leadership and words of comfort. We're honored to have the 531 Memorial Committee present, being represented by Police Sergeant Brian Ricardo and Charlotte Zito.
Good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Brian Ricardo with the Virginia Beach Police Department, and some of you know I was one of the first responders into Building 2 5 years ago today. Last year, I shared parts of my story of that day and the feelings I've had in the years that have followed. I don't share my story often, because, as many of you here can attest, these are not easy memories to wrestle with, but I assure you, I live with those memories every day, and I know many of you do as well. Today, I honorably stand before you as a member of the 531 Memorial Committee, and together with my fellow committee member, Charlotte Zito, and here with us today are also several other members of the 531 Memorial Committee, and we are humbled to speak on behalf of that group.
The 531 Memorial Committee is a group of citizens appointed by City Council in December of 2021 and brought together for a shared purpose: to develop a permanent memorial that remembers and honors those lost and those forever changed due to the events of May 31st, 2019. The 12 members of this committee include people who have lost a spouse, a brother, colleagues, and friends. We have members with experience in the arts, education, historic preservation, landscape architecture, contracting, and mental health. Each one of us has felt the weighty responsibility of doing right for the people most profoundly affected by this tragic event, by creating a place of peace and serenity for all who will visit. We started by developing a vision of what feelings the memorial should invoke, where it should be, and what design concept could realistically be brought to fruition on the selected site to create the sacred space our community needs. Our process has been quite deliberate and intentional. It has centered on listening to one another, to the families, to the Building 2 survivors, to the first responders, and to the public. Countless people have shared their experiences, their support, and their opinions. This feedback is the primary reason we are standing on this site today, and a reason we are not having a traditional groundbreaking ceremony. Enough was broken on May 31st. Instead, we are dedicating what once was an empty parcel of land, and it will now forever be a place of honor, remembrance, and peace.
We considered roughly a dozen sites and visited many around the city. What we heard loud and clear from surveys, public meetings, focus groups, and personal contact from many was the desire for this place of remembrance to be right here at the Municipal Center, but specifically not at the site of Building 2. There are many people who are still not in a place where they can look at that building nor set foot on that site. There is a plaque in former Building 2 that acknowledges what happened on May 31st, 2019. But this location right here is where the permanent memorial will be built. I am not the only member of our committee who was a bit skeptical of this process when we started, but like Charlotte and every member of the committee, I felt the weighty responsibility to make sure it was done right. I'm proud to say I believe it has been done right. We hope you feel we have respectfully and thoughtfully honored your loved ones, your friends, your memories, and your stories.
All of our decisions were reached by consensus, and one of the most important decisions we made was the selection of the design team led by Dills Architects, a Virginia Beach firm. Many of the members of their team knew and worked with individuals we lost that day. This project is personal for them, and it shows in their attention to the details that were so important to us. Clay Dills and members of his team are here today, and we thank them for being our partner in the development of this memorial. Thank you, Clay. The memorial design includes a survivor's grove, a hero tree, and a water feature, all leading to a wall with the names of the 12 we lost, overlooking the pond just next to us. At night, 150 lights will twinkle in those trees, representing the collective 150 years of public service those we lost gave to our city. There will be multiple ways people can experience the memorial, allowing each visitor to have a personal interaction in whatever way is most comfortable to them. There is more detail about this memorial design on the display boards on the tables over there, and members of the design team and memorial committee will be available after the ceremony if anyone would like to learn more. We all look forward to watching as this memorial moves from concept to reality.
To the families of those we lost, we mourn with you. To the survivors who were in the building and my fellow first responders, I hope a day comes when we can all find peace. And to all the city staff members and members of the Virginia Beach community who still feel the pain caused by that day, we stand together with a shared sense of loss. Our whole community lost so much that day, and we were all forever changed. May this memorial site be a special place of reflection and remembrance for us all.
Thank you, Sergeant Ricardo and Charlotte, and all members of the 531 Memorial Committee for your service. Next, please welcome Kelly Mills from the Department of Public Works.
Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Mills, and I am a survivor of the Virginia Beach Building 2 mass shooting. I bunkered down with a coworker I hardly knew in my third-floor office for over an hour as everything unfolded around me. Since that frightful day, I've been told many times, "My God, you must be lucky." Lucky? That's not how I describe it. As I was walking out of the building, I told my sister, "I am out, but they are still in there." As my healing began and my coping skills were sharpened, I soon learned and figured out there is a higher purpose for my survival. For the past 5 years, I've tried to live a more purposeful life. Today, I am blessed and honored to serve as the Public Works Project Manager for the City of Virginia Beach 531 Memorial, alongside Rob McPherson and Chad Morris, who represent Parks and Rec. They're both here. If you guys could give them a hand, that'd be great. I'd like to thank contracts, procurement, and the finance staff who worked hand in hand with economic development, Parks and Rec, and Public Works Engineering, as well as the DSC Planning Review Team. It is through all their purposeful assistance and that we have this site dedication today. The links in this chain are VB strong. Our design team has been extraordinary. Their care for this project is so thorough and professional that it helps this final design look spectacular. Believe me when I say, from the city manager down to this project staff, we have full support of the city. We're all aware that there are diverse opinions about this memorial. I can say that the city of Virginia Beach is trying to accommodate everyone's needs. I have heard rhetoric that this memorial is a waste of money. Why can't they just get over it? We understand that people are less sensitive to our needs. They don't understand the complexities of mass trauma. They don't understand the profound effects trauma has, like PTSD, depression, and anxiety. Most of us who were in Building 2 on May 31st feel it every single day, because the body keeps score. This memorial gives each of us a place of solace and reflection. The hero tree, as you can see, the mighty white oak behind us, is a 100-year-old majestic white oak that stands out among all the foliage. Many believe the hero tree only represents the hundreds of first responders who came into the building knowing there was an active shooter. In actuality, this tree represents many faces. It celebrates those who rose to heroic efforts in their co-workers' time of need. Not just those who carry a badge, but also those who called 911. Those who said, "Come in here, we'll lock the door. Let me help you." The hero tree remains strong, providing shade and cover for the others. It pays homage to those who helped the fallen and the injured. For those who were struck down physically and managed to fight your way back into the workforce, I commend your commitment to rise. For those who are still struggling mentally, physically, and or both, I know your healing continues. I understand the struggle and appreciate your courage and inspiration to others. Survivors Grove honors all of us who still navigate through those struggles. The memorial offers a reminder of how precious life is. It helps quell our emotions and sorrow for our injured and fallen co-workers, a well-liked contractor, and the echoes of uncomfortable memories made by inexplicable actions of others. People who were in Building 2 were forced to make decisions that day, to fight, take flight, or freeze. People who were not there experienced a different but just as a real emotional roller coaster of sorrow, guilt, and anguish. The police force is trained to get over the trauma that they experience on the job, yet they too still roll up their sleeves and say, I need help getting through this experience. No amount of training can cover what we all went through. Through this shared experience, we know there is value in the human relationships of our community. Our circle can inquire about each other's mental health. We now know it's okay to be vulnerable and dive into our feelings. We can bridge the gap in our differences and create a safe place for each other. The memorial will have a footpath through the grove of old mature trees and newly planted vegetation, all of which will provide safe canopy for you to feel safe, for you to feel peace. There will be a place for these infamous rocks that you see here. We have like piles and piles of these rocks that were painted at the special breakfast or in our VB Strong classes. And some of them even just arrived from all over the world for people who are reaching out to share words of encouragement with us during a time that we did not feel so strong. The most truly captivating component of the memorial will be the water flowing over the wall of remembrance. The trickling noise in the woods will resonate as a river might, bringing solace to the experience as we reflect on the memories of those we lost and those affected. As the water pours into the pond, we lose some of the water with each cycle. New water rejuvenates the system, and a pump helps the water return to its different life as it meets new twists and turns. This recirculation reminds me of the renewed energy that we have with each day. It's never the same, but it keeps moving. In my own personal journey, I realized I did not buy into the resilience. Bouncing back to where we once were is not ever going to happen. The new normal is here. I wear my I'm still standing shirt often. I'm not apologetic for my new normal. I try to be a better me each day. Sometimes it takes a nudge from a family member, a friend, or coworker as I meet the new twists and turns. I guess you can say I'm pumped to be the project manager of this memorial. I look forward to returning to the Municipal Center. My office will be right across the way there in Building 33. 33 happens to be my mentor's jersey number when I was growing up. It's just amazing how life just comes back at you, right? With gratitude, I hope to look out the window and see the mighty oak casting comfort over the tearful memories of our shared experience and fallen loved ones. My hope is that the memorial affords people the opportunity to both cleanse our minds and celebrate the good-hearted souls that we lost May 31st, 2019. Thank you.
Powerful words, Kelly. Thank you for sharing your story. We will close the ceremony after the remarks from our next speaker. We encourage you, if you have not done so already, to please take time to fill out the biodegradable paper and be part of the memorial by leaving words of comfort, hopes for the future, or memories. Without further ado, please welcome the facilitator for the 531 Memorial Committee, Dr. Delarry Schuler.
The words spoken by President Abraham Lincoln some 160 years ago, some 300 miles from here, reverberate still today. The world may little note nor long remember what we said here, but it can never forget what they did here. President Lincoln may never have known the power that his words would have centuries later, but he knew, as we do, that actions speak louder than words. So, you may little note nor long remember what I say here, but I hope you will always remember what has been done here. For what has been done here is remarkable, historic, and sacred. It is remarkable that out of one of this city's darkest days could come a ray of light, a peaceful place for contemplation, a solemn and safe space for serenity. It is remarkable that a dozen members of this community, bolstered by city officials and staff and the thoughtful sentiments of a dozen families, coalesced around a shared vision for remembering those lost and acknowledging those wounded. And it is remarkable that this community will gather here not to remember how people died, but how they lived and tirelessly served this community. This is also a historic moment, one that I hope we will all remember with pride. We may never be able to say the date 5/31 without feeling sadness, but today we also mark this date with connection, with comfort, and with community. We reclaim 5/31 today as a day when we stand together, hand in hand, lifting up the souls of those lost, those wounded, and those grieving. We reclaim 5/31 in dedication to the values those taken from us and those wounded represent: selflessness and service, commitment and community, and perhaps above all else, we come to dedicate this ground that a year ago rested quietly without use and now becomes revered. President Lincoln cautioned those hearing his words at Gettysburg: we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. He asked instead that we dedicate ourselves to the unfinished work thus far so nobly advanced. So as we prepare this space for its sacred tasks, we must dedicate ourselves to carrying on the legacies of those from our community who are gone but never forgotten. We dedicate this land only when we commit ourselves to the same service they gave to others, not to themselves. May this land and this future memorial be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting this community in grief and comfort and moving through the darkness into the light.
When we pause and remember, when we say their names, when we come together, we ensure they are never forgotten.